Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm Rodney.
I'm Jamal.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? This Vince.
And we are
Under construction.
Today we have a special guest, and I'm gonna let Brother Jamal introduce him.
Like my man Rodney said, we have a very special guest. He is an alumni of the best high school in America, Dub C. My man Brandon Richard. Let's give him a round of applause.
Yo, what's up, fam?
How you feeling today, B Rich?
Man, I'm great, man. Thanks for having me, man. I've been checking y'all out for quite some time, man, and I'm just glad to be on the mic. So let's do it. Let's do it.
That's righteous. Wait, before we get started, I got a question.
Shoot.
How do you decide that West Charlotte is the best high school?
It doesn't need to be explained. Let's start there.
Society.
Yeah, it's a movement.
Society.
Charlotte.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
We come in droves, dog. So
yes, we do.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
It's called Black Excellence. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well,
we're gonna move on.
So we're gonna move on. Okay.
We're gonna move on. Yeah. West Charlotte, the best high school. Ooh.
Yeah.
What them test scores say? All right.
Snap.
I had to throw a shout out there. I got a nickname for Brandon, man.
What's the
That's a splash cousin today.
Splash
Splash
cousin.
cousin.
He's D'Angelo Russell. He's loading out here, man. He's sitting out here loading.
Got ice
Ice
water
in the
veins.
veins,
Yes, sir.
Steph Curry, that's Trey the Truth.
Oh man.
Kazi's Clay Thompson over there.
We got Clay back there behind the camera.
All right, so we're gonna jump into the Hornets. So it's been 2 weeks
Yeah.
since Kemba left us at the altar.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Like are you over it? Are you excited about Rozier? What do you think? I'm gonna start out with the guest today.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Okay. So
Now,
Fire
first
today.
off, for the people that are watching, let them know: are you a Hornets fan?
I am not a Hornets
You're
fan.
not. Who are you a fan of?
I'm a Laker fan.
You're a Laker fan.
But hold on, let me say this.
Because I'm
man.
about to talk
I
to
know.
Jamal.
See,
I'm
I
about to
see
say
you
nothing,
All right.
man.
Have you ever been to LA?
I became a Laker fan before the Hornets were in existence, so I want to give a little context to that.
Okay.
But I do think that
I'm gonna be nice today.
my dispassionate view can give me some insight into this. All right. So Kemba was a great player. He was a phenomenon for Charlotte, probably other than probably Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, and Dale Curry, probably one of the more influential, emotional players to the city, right? And I am a Charlottean, right? So I do follow the team. I mean, I think Kemba had to go. I think Kemba actually, sometimes you can make yourself too valuable for a place, right? And, he's a great player. And I very much look forward to following him in Boston. But MJ had to make a decision, right? Is paying him $40 million more worth what he means to the city? I mean, because clearly we didn't make the playoffs. Well, they did not make the playoffs.
No, you said it already first.
No, you're right. No.
say
I'm a
that.
Laker fan, but I am a Charlatan. Don't get it
Gotcha,
twisted.
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? I got my Kendall Gills back at the house, right? So trust believe that. So I think, when you think about, the money that they had to pay, the direction that they're trying to go, and the resources or money that you need in order to do so, I mean, I think it was a relatively easy decision. I think Terry Rozier is going to be someone who can bring a lot of that kind of grit, because, usually teams that aren't big cities, they really much value grit in a way. Hell, Boston is not a big city, right? They value grit. And I think that's what Terry Rozier will bring. So, it'll be interesting to see. But I think, Kemba had to go into the circumstance. I think he played his way out of it.
Now, from with you not being a Hornets fan per se, what is your take on the reaction from the Hornets fan base from what you've seen?
Expected.
Expect?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, because fandom in and of itself is an emotional thing, right? So you can say all the logic in the world, but it's like, but how does this make me feel? You took away my feel good. Right. And that's what Kemba was for a lot of people. He is the feel good.
That's an understatement.
Right. So, nobody wants to take away the feel good, regardless of logic.
Okay, I dig that. I did it. For me, for the most part, I've been saying it since day one. I'm pretty indifferent to it. I'm less about the name on the back of the jersey, and I'm more about the name on the front of the jersey.
Vince, you're supposed to be outraged.
I'm not gonna be outraged.
Supposed to take shots at other Hornets fans.
The life that
other
I've
groups and
lived,
everything.
the life that I've lived, I've been through too much to get overly emotional.
All right.
About Hornets about a sports
preaching
team.
the word this Sunday.
I mean, I'm
All
just
right.
saying. I'm just like some of the emotion that I've seen from fans. I don't understand it.
Me neither, man.
I saw this one post in one group where they were speaking on the emotion, and I made a comment, and I said, well, look, some of you guys are complaining no matter what they do, no matter what the Hornets do. You guys wanted Kemba traded away 2 years ago. But when he didn't get traded away, you wanted him to stay because we had the All-Star game last year. But then had we traded him away during the All-Star game, you would have been upset with that. Now that he's walked away, you're upset that we didn't trade him before the All-Star game.
It's like a circle of life, man.
Literally, the fans are asking the team to do whatever. The team is actually doing it, and they're still getting upset. And for the life of me, I just can't understand it. It's beyond idiotic to me, and I just can't understand it.
Strong words, Vince. Far as how I feel, man, y'all know I've always came at this like I am an emotional fan, but I'm an emotional fan because I followed Kemba Walker so long now, and it was like the greatest thing in the world when he came to Charlotte. Like, y'all know that. Y'all know how much of a UConn, Kemba Walker, blah, 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 all that stuff, man. But, man, even with that being said, man, the last 2 weeks, man, I feel a lot better than I did 2 weeks ago because at some point, man, two things, man. Number one, logic has to kick in. Mm-hmm. And number two, like James Borrego has already clearly said, you just got to move on, man. We're here. You know, it's good to have a semblance of what we need to do. I don't know if the Hornets actually see that or not, but it's good to at least know that this is where we stand with the team right now. And no, not to sound like a broken record, but James Borrego, man, he said it best, man. It's just time to move on. It is. And as far as Terry Rozier, like I've maintained, that was a very necessary signing. Terry Rozier was so necessary because it was obviously a gaping hole at point guard. Let's start there. Let's start with the obvious. There wasn't a lot of free agent point guards that we could afford to go get. So them getting Terry Rozier was like, I'm kind of, you know, I have to actually give them kudos for that. I have criticized how they botched the Kemba Walker signing, but, you know, getting Terry Rozier the way it did is not a bad kind of stopgap. So,
and you know, to caveat off of that, and this goes more so to the emotional aspect that we've been talking about. With Kemba leaving and Rozier coming, I think we go from Kemba Walker and the Avengers to the Charlotte Hornets now.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's the Charlotte Hornets.
Right.
And I'm really looking forward to that.
Let me ask you a question. So, how do you feel about other Hornets fans kind of legislating your fandom and taking shots at other fans for not feeling the way they feel about the situation, and being just a little more optimistic than the average fan? How, like, if as a Laker fan, how would you feel?
I mean, you know, like people are saying, man, fans are emotional by nature. I mean, fan is short for fanatic, right? Yeah. So emotion doesn't do logic very well, right? So no matter how logical you're going to be about a circumstance, the logic only goes well if it's in line with how someone feels. And, you know, with mediums, you're going to always talk about, you know, you can find enough of stands, you know, quote unquote, to go with your way of thinking. So when somebody has something different, they're always going to talk, oh, you don't know that, you know, you talking about it, And, you know, fandom is always just about emotion. And as long as people as long as people get a voice, a medium to express their emotion, anytime something's different, I mean, it's MSNBC and Fox News. It's the same thing, right? Gotcha. So,
see, and here's my deal. We're not talking about the Los Angeles Lakers. We're not talking about the New York Knicks.
Sure.
We're talking about the Charlotte Hornets. If I'm calling myself a Charlotte Hornet fan, a team that has no NBA Finals appearances, no conference appearances, we haven't been to the second round since basketball came back here.
Right.
How do I need to prove to you that I am a fan? It's the Charlotte Hornets.
Right. It's not like there's a bandwagon to be a part of.
Half of this city thinks we're still the Bobcats.
Right.
How do I need to prove that I am a fan if I'm attaching the Hornets to my fandom?
Well, to kind of answer that question, we all know, let's be clear. I'll just give you an example. I have never seen so much Charlotte Hornets talk on social media in my life because of the Kemba Walker situation.
I'm telling you.
I have never in my life seen so many people value Summer League the way they do because of the Kemba Walker situation. And the thing is, man, like, look, man, y'all know I'm always the one that's going to sound like a butthole, but I'll be that. Like, to me, when you see that kind of cornball kind of conversation going on, you question how much people have really followed the Charlotte Hornets. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the Hornets' failures, I hate to say this, but y'all know it's true. The Hornets' failures give people a reason to talk about the Hornets. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a conversation at all. You get what I'm saying? So to me, that's just I'm not a surefire way, but it's a pretty good indication to kind of gauge somebody's fandom sometimes.
Gotcha.
And and my bad for cutting you off, right? But we've never touched on this, and I feel like this is a good opportunity to do so. But we're talking about what qualifies you as a fan. There's no true definition, in my opinion, as to what qualifies you as a fan. But being a Charlotte Hornet fan, here's a couple of narratives that I'm tired of seeing. I am sick and tired of seeing I've been a season ticket holder since 1988. I am sick and tired of hearing that I've been here since the team came here. And okay, you know what that tells me? That tells me you haven't been nowhere in 30 years. I'm sorry that I was not born in Charlotte. I'm sorry that in April of 1982, I was not able to tell my mom and dad to move to Charlotte so I could be born in Charlotte and that I could be a native so that I could be a Hornets fan for the entirety of my life. I'm sorry that I joined the military and I went and saw the world and I wasn't able to stay here for 3 doggone decades.
All right, man.
I can't stand it.
I understand that logic doesn't come with emotion sometimes, but how do you fix yourself to say, I've been living in Charlotte longer than you, so I'm more of a fan to you?
It's all silly, man. It's all silly.
Stop it, y'all.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Shoot, man.
That. Basically, Kemba is a representation of the fan itself, right? So you didn't validate me, right? I'm Kemba, right? I'm 6 feet tall. Kemba and I are literally the exact same. We weigh exactly the same. We're the same height. And I think what a lot of people say is, oh, well, Charlotte, you didn't validate me. He's me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And when you feel emotions for someone, it's because you connect with them in some way.
Yeah.
So if he was 6'6" and he was LeBron James, like, oh man, screw him, whatever. But it's like, well, how can you do me like that?
It's like fans see themselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's
and
kind
I
of wild.
think in the same way they did with
Iverson,
right? It's just like, oh man, you did that to me. And I think that's why, the hate and the, oh, it's business when it comes to that, but you're supposed to make me your wife and you treated me like a girlfriend.
Even to speak further to that, man, like it's been documented that Kemba Walker has a really close relationship with some fans.
Yeah.
Like this dude has delivered season tickets to fans' door. So that even that elevates the point of what you're saying, man. And I think that's why, for the most part, and a lot of it is, but for the most part, that's why we're seeing just so much of an emotional reaction to Kemba Walker leaving, even to speak further to that point.
So looking at these moves that the Hornets have made this offseason, what does this tell you their plan is going forward? Like, in your opinion.
Let me speak to this first, man. Because I'm not going to lie, man. Mitch Kupchak, he had a press conference about a week ago, and I did not like the answer. I have to be honest, man. That was not an answer I was looking for. Basically, Miss Kupchak was asked, hey, are you guys, I hate to use this word, tanking, rebuilding, whatever you want to call it, or are you guys looking to build toward the future? And Mitch's answer was basically like, well, we don't know yet. Bro, how long you need to take?
The worst thing was, this kind of made me like, does he know what he's doing? But he said, somebody asked him, what's your justification for getting Rozier?
Right.
He's like, well, if he was in the lottery, he's like, he would be a lottery pick this year. I'm like, you could have said that a little better. I'm
right. You could explain a little bit.
I think he was saying him coming out, he was a lottery pick to us.
Well, here's what I think. I think Mitch Kupchak is playing mind games. I think he's deliberately saying this stuff so that everyone think less of him, that nothing is really going to come out. And in 3 or 4 years, when things have changed, now he's going to be like, Kool-Aid smile. Like, yeah, look what we did. Mm-hmm. But let me say this. I'm going to let you guys go. Everyone is criticizing Mitch Kupchak right now. Everyone is questioning Mitch Kupchak right now. But when Mitch Kupchak first signed as the GM, he was universally loved and accepted by the Charlotte fan base.
Let me cut you off. Was that simply because he replaced Rich Cho?
Nope, it was because of that Laker connection, because he's a household. But I'm going to tell you something. There's a guy on this panel right now by the name of Vince Dunlap who was not for that Mitch Kupchak signing. He was not for it. And now here we are 2 years later, and the entire fan base is looking at Mitch Kupchak like a fool. And I'm like, this is what y'all get when you guys constantly want somebody simply because of namesake. Just because someone has a big name, a big profile, doesn't equate to success. But you got what you wanted, and now you have to deal with the trials and tribulation while they try and build a team.
Gotcha. Fair point.
But to answer your question, what do I want them to do going forward? I don't want them to make any big signings. Rozier needs to be the last splash that they make over the next couple of years. And if you look at their books, if you go to 2022, not counting the players that we just drafted this year, they only have $24 million tied up in their cap space. And 18 of that is simply Rozier. And the other 5 is Bridges. So, and I kind of mentioned this earlier in the week. If you look at what the Clippers did, if you look at what Brooklyn did, if we follow their blueprint, in 3 years, we can have a pretty legitimate squad. Now, we have $80 million cap hold for other players, but I don't think this fan base is at the point to where they understand what a cap hold is. So we're going to leave that conversation alone. I just wanted to throw it out there that I am aware of the cap hold, but I just want them to take the youth, let the youth.
Somebody hate on you about that if you didn't say it.
I just want them to let the youth develop as much as possible. The kid that we drafted last year, who's over in Lithuania playing, but he's on this year's summer league team, but he didn't play at all last year. Bring him in, let those guys play, and in 2 years we'll have enough money in cap space to bring in some legitimate players.
Let me speak to that as well. What's this? I'm gonna screw this saying up, but because I'll
try and help you out.
What's the saying? You have to understand your history to know where you're going. Is that?
To know where you're going, you have to know where you've been.
Thank you.
Or where you come from. Something like that.
So I want to give everybody some history. Back during the Steven Jackson, Gerald Wallace days of the Bobcats. Okay, so we started that team with like Raja Bell as a shooting guard, and that team was going nowhere.
Nowhere fast.
So Bobcats manager said, all right, we got to do something to make this team better right now. We don't want to go into another season where we have another lottery pick. So they made the trade for Steven Jackson. They traded Roger Bell and AC Law for Steven Jackson. You look at that on paper and you say, man, that's a good trade. Bobcats won that trade. We make the playoffs. We go out in the first round. And I just a nugget. We probably could have been a 6 seed that year, but we just ran into the worst matchup in Orlando Magic, who came out the East that year. I just want to throw that out there. And
we went 4-0 against the LeBron James-led Cavaliers that regular season.
I'm glad you brought that up. So we have that team. The next year, they say, okay, we're in salary cap hell. Our finances are bad. We need to blow it up. We need to get rid of Gerald Wallace and Steven Jackson. We got 2 lottery picks for Gerald Wallace ultimately. Okay?
Sure did.
So you look at that on paper and you say, man,
it's a good return.
That's a great return. But guess what? You draft Bismack Biyombo, one of those draft picks. That kind of hampers your future a little bit. Let's call a spade a spade. Right. We're not even gonna mention who we drafted Bismack Biyombo in front of, because that'll just make me depressed.
Don't do that.
So ultimately, the point that I'm trying to make here is that do not repeat history again. Okay? Now, if you want to go that route that you did the first time the Bobcats, where you blew it up, you have got to make sure you do your homework on draft picks.
Gotcha.
Now, as far as the direction I think
we're going. My bad for cutting you off again. For those of you that are watching and those of you that are listening, I just want to point out the fact that everything that Jamal just spit off, he did this with no notes, no notepad, no computer. This all came right off of the dome. Okay,
he's a true Hornets fan.
So for
don't question the fandom
that are always bringing that I've been here since '88 bull crap. Stop it. All right, stop it. All right,
he's been following since '88 loyally.
There you go. There you go. But the thing is, if like the direction I believe they need to go into, they need to do a youth movement. They need to do a youth movement, and they need to get rid of bad money. That's 2 very easy objectives.
Shoutouts to Nick Batum.
Not to say that that's going to be easy to pull off, because again, you have to do your homework on draft picks. I want the Hornets to have a sustainable future. Here's another thing with that Bobcat situation. We draft MKG, second pick. Okay. we're we went from 7 wins to 21 wins.
Cody with number 4.
But here's the thing, though. I think they panicked and they said, we don't want to go another 5 years. Let's go out and get Al Jefferson, who's not a bad player. Mm-hmm. We loved Al. Mm-hmm. We loved Al while he was here, okay?
And he loved Bojangles.
And marijuana.
So we have that team who is a decent team, who is a half game out of the 3rd seed one year, okay? But it's not a contender. I don't want the Hornets to panic again and make an emergency signing just for whatever reason. I want a sustainable future. And to have a sustainable future, you have got to nail your draft picks. You have got to do your homework, and you have got to be patient. I know fans don't want to hear you got to be patient, but you got to be patient.
But Jamal, we've been patient for 30 years.
Man, look, that OG Hornets franchise has nothing to do with the current Hornets franchise. It just doesn't. I don't care what anybody says. I feel like I'm being long-winded, so I'll move on. Man.
Personally, what I would like to do is I would like to clear the books, utilize our cap space as opportunities to gain picks. So, say Boston needs to get under the cap. And like, hey, man, we got this Memphis pick and this other pick. But you guys need to take on the Gordon Hayward for another 2 years.
I do that.
I do that in a heartbeat because it gives you the opportunity to pick up picks. And maybe you can flip Gordon in the year when he's expiring.
Yeah.
And just keep cycling those picks in and out.
I'd also do that with Andrew Wiggins.
And you know who's in the process?
He's young enough.
You know who's in the process of weighing that exact blueprint right now?
Who?
The Thunder. OKC Thunder.
They got like 11 picks.
They got like 7 first-round picks just from George and Westbrook. 7 first-round picks.
I think the Clippers overpaid, but they had to because it was a package.
Well, and here's the deal. When Toronto gave up everything that they gave up for Kawhi, it was looked at that they lost that deal. But they got a championship out of it.
Yeah, you get a championship. You don't lose the deal.
You don't lose the deal. So did the Clippers give up a lot? Yeah. But if they find themselves in the Western Conference Finals, because they never saw that when Chris Paul was there, they win, in my opinion. They win.
Gotcha. So one more question. Does Summer League matter? We've seen Summer League outrage.
All right, Brandon.
The past
week.
A
little quiet. Give us your thoughts on that.
The Summer League matter, Brandon. I mean, because the Lakers had a Summer League squad a few years ago. I mean, y'all won that championship, didn't y'all?
No, we were beasting out there on the court. No. It's a moneymaker, right? And as evidenced by every year, you see more and more stars on the sidelines, right? So it's really like, all right, it's summertime, people going out to Vegas, let's try to make some bread. Hey, LeBron, it'll give you $50,000, come watch courtside. Anthony Davis. So it's really about the court sign than it is the product on the court. Some league sucks.
Okay.
Right. It's you would think it would be better college basketball.
It's not.
It is.
It's terrible basketball.
It's terrible basketball.
It is.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because that allows me to answer my question the way I want to. With the current Hornets Summer League roster, I'm going to break it down to you who's all on this team by how many years they've been in the NBA, okay? Right now, we got 12 rookies on this Summer League squad. We got 12 rookies. We got 4 players that have played 1 year of NBA basketball. We got 2 players that have played 2 years of NBA basketball. And we got 0 Malik Monks, okay? So, does Summer League matter? I had to throw that jab in there. Does Summer League matter? For the team, no. For the head coach, yes. Because what it does, it takes those young players who are out there playing voluntarily, hey Malik Monk, and it allows the coach to look at what they are doing individually. Because when the preseason comes, he's not paying attention specifically to Devontae Graham or Hicks or Meeks or any of those guys. He's looking at the team and how they're gelling as a whole.
Gotcha.
So for the coaching staff, Summer League matters. For everybody else, no, it's just a money grab.
Let me first say, before I answer this yes or no, I just want to say I've never in my life seen so much interest in the Charlotte Hornets Summer League in my life. I'm only gauging this off of social media posts. That's all I'm gauging this off of. I just want to throw that
Shock, outrage.
Shock, man, don't get me started, man. But to quickly answer this question, no, it does not matter at all because, man, you have to understand, these guys are literally thrown together there's no practice. There's no gelling really. It's a bunch of pieces that don't really fit. You know, and with the Hornets in particular, they don't have anybody over like 6'10" to be a real center. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And as far as Summer League, as it relates to the Hornets' real roster in the regular season, why in the hell would it matter? You have, 15 guys literally fighting for the last spot on everybody else's roster. Not just the Hornets, but everybody else's league. It's a showcase. It's not real basketball. It's not even enough time to get practices in for a Summer League. So it's not to crap on the subject, but it's even ridiculous that we're talking about this. Yeah. It is silly. It is ridiculous. Hell no, it doesn't matter. No.
All right now. Thank you, Jamal.
Yeah, man. Hey, man.
Shut the door. So we're gonna jump into our back-to-back winning seasons. We call this back-to-back winning seasons because
we've never had one.
Back-to-back winning seasons.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom.
You will be great for this segment because you're actually a Panther fan. Mm-hmm. So let's do it.
So you're an NFL fan in general. So we're gonna jump into NFL first.
Okay.
Right.
So the NFL owners have proposed the 18-game season schedule, and a caveat was basically the cap is players can only play 16 games max. How do you guys feel about that? It's just I just don't get it. What do you guys feel about that?
We're gonna let our guests go first.
It's a ridiculous premise. It's utterly ridiculous because now you have to figure out, well, what 16 games does a player play, right? And clearly, if the quarterback is going to play those 16 games, the offensive line are going to play those same 16 games because it's just too valuable to have, backup O-linemen play. So basically, each team is like, all right, what 2 games can we lose? Right? And every now and again, somebody will pull a win out their butt, but that's really it. And it's definitely a money grab. And the players have to say, okay, but at what point is enough enough? At what point does my body matter? Because ultimately, it's about bodies. Otherwise, they wouldn't even say you have to play up to 16 games. They would let you play 18, right? And what if, for example, let's say that you are in the playoff hunt, but it's your game not to play, but you're down 10 points in the beginning of the fourth quarter, and Tom Brady's like, yo, maybe let me get in, and get on this game. But like, sorry, you can't, you can't play. Like that's so it's an utterly ridiculous premise. So just say, look, man, we're doing this for money. Right? Mm-hmm. Fans, you like the ritual. It's your church. You like going to church on Sunday. You like being with your group. Cool. Let's kick it. But just the product on the field, it's going to be a horrible product. It's going to be Summer League for those 2 games for those players.
Yeah, and I pretty much co-sign. I know that right around week 14 or 15, the average NFL fan gets pretty worn out with football, and we're kind of ready for the postseason already. So to add 2 more games, even without, and then like look at our fan base in particular. If we're playing week 8, week 12 or whatnot, and Cam Newton isn't playing, half the fan base isn't even going to watch because most of the fans aren't even Panthers fans.
I don't know. There's some Cam haters that.
The Cam haters are going to.
I can't wait to watch.
Let's go, Will.
Let's go, Will.
Going to be there. And when Will Grill throws for 300 yards, hey, why is Cam playing 16 games? Let's get rid of Cam. But when their favorite player doesn't play, when Keuchly doesn't play, when whoever doesn't play, like you're going to actually lose fan support there anyway. And just like Brandon was saying, it's another money grab. And if you take away those 2 games, if you add those 18 games, you got 20 games just between preseason and the regular season already. And if you do sneak in as a wild card, that's an extra 4 games. Yeah. That's 25 weeks of football right there. So I would rather they scale it back, take away 2 preseason games, take away 2 regular season games, because with the scheduling of the NFL, the last 2 weeks of the season really don't even matter. The playoff seating has already been determined for the most part. So again, like Brandon was saying, it's a money grab to me. And now here's the deal. Here's a question that I haven't heard. Even though you don't play those 2 games, you're still on the active roster. And if you're going to be on that active roster, do you still get that active roster pay?
Yeah, I don't think they work those kinks out.
That
That even adds to the silliness of it.
Well, so here's another thing. So how fast do you have to tell the NFL when the players aren't playing? Because now it's strategy, right? So if they say, "Oh, Cam isn't playing," you're like, "Oh, well, actually, playoff starters now, right?" So that is utterly ridiculous, right? So they're floating the idea to really gauge the interest of the fans and say, "All right, how much are you willing to pay more break? Because you're gonna have to put more people on the active roster, which is going to mitigate some costs." Yeah. So it's. Again,
it becomes more of a headache than it needs to be.
Absolutely is.
Because you would need to add more players, and if you did pay those players those 2 games that they did set out, it actually strengthens the argument that the NFL needs to pay their players more right now.
And then guarantee contracts.
Or just say they're going to be more disposable. Now, one of the two.
Now I'm gonna answer this question a long way. All right, I'm gonna give you a basketball example first. It was some rumors floating out there where the NBA was like, well, we're looking at reducing the regular season to 60-something games. I love basketball. I don't want to see less basketball. So, of course, I want basketball to be 82 games because I love the game. If the NBA came out and said, well, we're going to extend the regular season to 96 games, I'd be like, that's just stupid. That's just ridiculous. I feel the same way about the NFL. I don't want to see less games. I don't want to see a 14-week season either. There's no reason to change it, man. And it's because of all the reasons we just said. Stuff gets sticky with strategy and, and things get really tight around playoff time. So it's like, well, we've already set out our quarterback. I'm sorry, we haven't set out our quarterback yet. So, God, we got to sit him out week 18. This is going to cause some issues for us. It's just too much, man. And like B. Rich already said, I just wish Roger Goodell would just come out sometimes and be like, man, I'm a money-hungry, greedy bastard, and this is the only reason I'd like to do this because it does nothing for the players. Quite honestly, I don't think it does anything for fans. Now, fans might come out and the immediate reaction might be, more football, yeah! But by week 15, 16, it's just like, look at the ratings. We're over it. So, it's ridiculous.
Gotcha. All right, interesting answers. So recently, Luke Keuchly got sauced up by 11-year-old Keanthony Smith at a summer camp.
He got.
Man, he got good.
Hey, Kaz, what's the saying? Anybody.
You gotta get got.
Anybody.
And he returned the favor by tackling the young man in the open field. So should we be worried about Luke because he got sauced up that bad?
I'm gonna tell you why.
It's concussion protocol.
Is Kamara gonna sauce him up like that?
Man, we shouldn't be worried, man, because you gotta look how low to the ground this little 11-year-old was, man. It's hard to tackle somebody that low to the ground.
Man, that jump cut was nasty though.
Look, man,
it was nasty.
I don't have children, but I'm sure parents can attest to chasing their little ones around, and they're so little it's hard to get them.
Right.
I'm going to kind of defend Luke Keuchly on this one a little bit. It's not like the little kid was running behind the offensive line. It's like wide open space. Imagine how hard it is to catch something little in a wide open space.
There's nothing to worry about here. It was fun. It was there's absolutely nothing. And my bad for cutting y'all off. But when you're playing on the field and you got 11 people, everybody has their own assignment. Yeah. So even if Kamara jukes Luke Keuchly, there's another linebacker coming. But their free safety is in the alley coming.
Don't get me wrong.
Panthers fan. We're just joking, okay?
Yeah, there's nothing to see.
So you guys hate Luke. I knew it.
But here's something. Here's what intrigued me about that little clip. When I saw it on Twitter, the response was completely lighthearted. Yeah. Everybody loved it. Everyone was joking. The kid's done a few interviews with NFL Today and all that good stuff. My question is...
Dabo, get on that kid.
Hey, Ohio State probably is already giving him an offer. But that's another conversation.
Time for another day.
But why is the response always different when it happens in basketball?
Listen, man. Because while I was sitting here thinking... I swear to God, I'm sorry. Why was I sitting here thinking, what if somebody would have crossed up MKG? What if it was a little man, he can't even guard 11-year-old. The outrage would have been crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you guys remember that video? It's about 10 years ago when LeBron got dunked on by Jordan Crawford.
Yeah.
He tried to hide that footage.
He's still living off that dunk too. He just did another interview about a month ago. He's still living off that dunk.
But in basketball, it's so different though, man.
But I wanted to flip it around. Like we've seen kids at these basketball camps, and they play these NBA players 1-on-1. And when the kid tries to shoot, the player just like swats the ball in the next week, right? Why is the response never positive or lighthearted? Why is the response always that NBA player, he's a jerk, or why not let the kids have fun? Why are the responses different for the two sports?
I have no idea.
Hey, I don't have an answer for that, bro.
It's funny to me either way. It
is. I love them both.
But mainly, it's no big deal either way either, man. So
literally, I watched the video where Jason Tatum dunked on the kid. Well, the kid was like this. He pushed the kid down. I was like, he pushed the kid.
Now I get it, but that was a look.
Nah, I mean it was MJ-ish.
Hey, and did you see the kid afterwards? Like he stayed on the ground, like he was like.
He got baptized in the water.
Oh man.
Hey man, finally I want to say, K. Anthony Smith, you can go to UNC Chapel Hill. They offer you free A's and B's. Get some classes.
Come on, man.
Hey man, you don't have to go to class, man. That's Julius Peppers.
If you go to Clemson, they'll offer you peanuts and Coke. You got to be a lifelong under construction fan.
And if you go to Florida State, you can steal all the crab legs you want. All right, so we're gonna jump into our culture segment.
Wait, hold on. Brandon, what's your college football team?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't really have one. I mean, I used to be a Florida State fan for the longest time.
Okay,
you washed up. You washed up.
All right, so
hey, you can always come home, man.
Yeah.
So if it's Saturday and college football is on, what team would intrigue you?
Either Florida State, USC. I did an internship at University of Texas, so I have a little bit of affinity for them.
Okay.
And then up until about 6-7 years ago, Penn State.
Okay.
I got you.
All right. Can't go to Penn State. I'm not even going to touch that, but
no.
I'm going to leave it. Yeah. We'll leave that one alone.
Yeah, exactly.
All
right. So we're going to jump into our culture segment.
All right.
J. Cole and Dreamville released Revenge of the Dreamers 3 last Friday. How do you guys like that, Brandon? Did you listen to it?
I've heard some of it, but I haven't listened to all of it.
Well, did you like what you heard so far?
Yeah, I mean, he's always great, right? That the album is always good. I mean, it just really depends on how I'm feeling at the particular time. I mean, sometimes I can appreciate kind of the lyrical gifts of somebody and how they spit, but the music itself doesn't necessarily resonate with me. I think particularly as I get older, right? Just some of the stuff is like, I don't know if that's really for me per se, but I can still have an appreciation for it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, pretty much the same. It's a nice album to ride to. I don't know if I'll ever wake up one day and be like, "Hey, yo, put on that new Dreamville." But if I'm in the mood, if I'm just kind of like chilling, it's something I can listen to. And the first track, the baby, he really, really surprised me on that in a good way. Now that one verse, if I could get more of that baby, I can see myself listening to him a lot more.
I actually agree, man.
Don't hold your breath. It's not.
Yeah.
coming.
I'm not. I'm not.
Look. I love him for his ratchetness, but that I don't want him. I don't want him to get out his element too much right now.
Well, I'm just happy to know that he can do it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he really surprised me. Luke was dope. Now with the baby and Luke both being on the album. I'm not gonna lie. I was searching the track list and looking for Elevator J, and I was like, "Where is he?
He's more of a Luke. Him and Luke rolled together a little more.
Okay.
I don't think he's like as close with J. Cole.
Still.
Yeah. He. Still. But I'll tell you this. The track got me. That was one of the ones that stood out to me because there's an artist on there that I was unaware of before. I think her name was like Ari Lennox.
Yeah, Ari Lennox.
Her verse, the last verse on that track, kind of like really, really stuck out to me. So the album was dope because obviously I got introduced to some new artists. So I'm going to look her up eventually and see what other music she got out there. But yeah, overall, I got no real critiques of the album.
What about you, Jamal?
So, y'all know how I am.
Lyrical miracle.
Y'all know how I am about music. I am a very hard critic when it comes to hip hop music. I'm the old grumpy guy who apparently doesn't listen to anything past 94, and it's all East Coast. That's apparently who I am.
No, I say 99.
Okay. with that being said, I actually enjoy this album. I really do, especially the first song on the album. I said this off camera, man. Let me say this again, man. There are 2 Charlotte references on that first song. Hey. Man, I almost shed a tear, man. It was a very proud moment to hear Lou and the baby make Charlotte references. When Lou said I'm from Babies for a Roll, I'm about to pull the call. And I was like, man, that's what I'm talking about. We made it. Babies for made it. Yes. But no, man. But to kind of echo what Vince said about the baby in particular, man, like his verse on that first song, I was pleasantly surprised. But I mean, that's legit MC stuff right there. And I know you said don't hold your breath on getting more of that from the baby, but he would make me listen a lot more if we could get that from him, get more of that from him, man. But I'll just say, the album as a whole, man, not to get too rap geeky and nerdy and not to go too far into that, man. I mean, it's not like the most innovative album, you know what I mean? It's not like, right. You get what I'm saying? It's not, I don't listen to any song and be like, man, I haven't heard anything like that before. But not to be too picky about it, but it's a quality album. Gotcha. I'll say that. By no means is it whack. By no means is it trash. None of that, man. I'm happy for Dreamville. I'm more happy for Charlotte. So,
Brother Kaiser, what you think about the album?
Swivel is good riding music. That is my song.
So you feeling Earth Gang?
Yeah. Well, Lambo Truck and Swivel, I played on repeat.
Oh, I love Lambo Truck.
But I'm gonna be honest. I really like the album, but I probably won't listen to it this week.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's just
fair.
I probably won't. But it was a good album, and it was good to see the baby really show he could spit. That was surprising. The Charlotte references, everything. It was quality.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And you need to get on that Freddie Gibbs and Mad Lib album.
Wait. No. Real quick, Superstition has a new album out.
Yes.
We'll talk about Super in maybe a later under construction podcast, but he is a real Charlotte hip hop legend.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's in Atlanta now, but he has a new album that just came out, and he is Charlotte all the way. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Superstition.
Shout out, Rodney. Give us your take on the album.
It's better than I expected. I thought it was gonna be, because we've been hearing about this since January, February, with all these Dreamville meetings. Thought it was gonna be all cap, and it's better than I thought it was. And I love Jid, man.
All right.
Jid is a rapper, man. I actually kind of like that.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah. And I like. I'm about to check out a little bit more Earth Gang.
Earth Gang's been dope, man.
I'm gonna check out a little bit more.
You're a little late on Earth Gang, man.
I know. I'm late. I'll accept that. I'm late.
It's all good, bro.
Okay. So we're going to have a real convo now. I think we got differing opinions at this table. So Jermaine Dupri was asked how does he feel about women hip hop and who's the queen of hip hop. Specifically, he was given Meg, Cardi, Nicki as options. And he said that they were stripper rap. And it sparked some outrage in our culture, especially with our women. So fellas, how do you... Not how do you, but what do you think about his comments? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm gonna start with you, Ren.
Of course. Is it stripper music? I mean, it depends on why you go to the strip club, right? So, are you going, because you want to see women, bounce, or you going for the music? I mean,
the wings, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the tits and grits is pretty good at 2 a.m. It's a good spread, but. I know double entendre there. No, but it's really based on. I mean, if people are rapping about what they know and that's what they know, then that's what they're gonna rap about, right? No more than if a drug dealer understands the drug game, that's what he's gonna rap about. So if it's not pleasing to you, don't listen to it. It's just that simple. I mean, that's the great thing about entertainment. You can whatever entertains you, you can listen to, and the market bears it out, right? More than 50% of the population of women, if they dig it, they're gonna listen to it. So you can listen to it without ever really having to have a man ever listen to it and still get paid. So, I mean, having an opinion about it, as a producer, it's like, and I mean, Jermaine Dupri, do you remember some of the music that you were playing? I mean, just because Escape were wearing, cargo pants and stuff like that doesn't mean that necessarily the lyrics were certain. Or you listen to Missy Elliott. I mean, she's one of the nastiest people ever in rap music. She just ain't sexy. So it's really like, it's not just the lyrics themselves. It's just who is singing it and what's pleasing or not to the eye.
He's not all the way wrong, but I wish he would just shut the hell up. This is a prime example of somebody whose time has passed and he's just hating on the youth. Prime example. And I think he's simply just trying to stay relevant. I don't know if he's promoting anything. I don't know if he has anything in the works, but I think he's just simply trying to stay relative. Mm-hmm. And
we're talking about him.
And exactly. And I just think it needs to now. And the way that he worded it, he didn't say some of the heavy hitters out there. He didn't say this particular female rapper, that particular. He said all of it.
Yeah.
He encompassed it into all of women female rap. And we all know that there's a lot of female rappers out there that aren't doing stripper music. So again, I think it was a hot take just to get him relevant so that he can do whatever promotion that he's doing. I just wish he'd shut up.
I mean, but he's not talking about the artists. He's talking about the fans. Right, because if the fans were not interested in it, then he would never even talk about it.
And I beg to differ because I do. I know quite a few teenagers when I'm out and whatnot. There's a lot of teenagers who listen to the music and they love it. They'll tell you they actually hate the music. They rock with it because it's the only thing that's out there. It's the only thing that's getting pushed.
The new stuff.
I really don't agree with that. I mean,
I've heard it enough times.
I mean, the internet is the great equalizer.
But if it's not getting promoted, then how do you know to go look for it?
But listen, let me say this, man. I'm gonna say something that might shock y'all. Jermaine Dupri was right, and Cardi B was right. Let me explain why. Now, in context. I did not know Jermaine Dupri made such a broad statement about, just female rappers in general. But if we're talking about Meg, Cardi, Nicki, it sounds like strippers making music. It does. It's hard to deny that. Now, I'm going to say this. Cardi B came back and said, I rap about this. I rap about my bleep because it's my best friend. But more importantly, she said, when I made this other song rapping about something, y'all didn't listen to it.
No, it was a whole album.
Yeah.
It was a whole album.
But
and I don't know the name of the album because I don't buy Cardi's music.
You ain't gonna get me to listen to it. But anyway, but that's understated. When I rap this way, y'all didn't listen to it. So the onus, is it really on the MCs or is it on the public?
Well, let me ask you this though. Let's say let's relate this to basketball because this is primarily a sports podcast, right? If you're watching basketball and you're used to watching games get up into the 110s, 115s, 120s every single night.
Right.
And then all of a sudden the next night you watch a game where the score is like 88-90, you're gonna feel some type of way. Oh, this is an ugly basketball game.
90s ball.
Even though it's good basketball because there's obviously some defense being played, it's an anomaly. Now, if we continue to see that good defensive basketball being played, eventually we'll come to accept it. And with Cardi B, I don't think that album did bad simply because it was different, but more so because it was an anomaly of what she normally does.
I don't think her album did bad. I just think that single didn't chart like they wanted to because her album's like triple platinum.
Let me say this too, man. There's a deeper discussion. I think there's a way deeper discussion with this topic, and that we haven't talked about what record labels do.
Yeah, I'm glad
you know what I'm saying. If we're speaking particularly in mainstream music, let's cut out the internet, let's cut out the underground, let's cut all that out. Let's talk about radio, TV, mass media, whatever. You know what I'm saying? What's the record company? What are the record labels doing promoting this stuff? Because let me tell y'all something. Radio and media, they can make whatever they want cool, they can make it cool.
Agreed.
Media and record companies have made Meg, Cardi, Nicki. They've made that into the mainstream, and they've made that what people are used to listening to now, and that's not talked about enough. So that's why I say everybody was right. Jermaine Dupri was right, and Cardi B was right.
So let me ask you a question. So Little Kim was rapping about her goodies.
I hated it then.
Foxy Brown was rapping about hot spots and all the other stuff. Has it really changed? I mean, look, listen. There has always been some type of variety in women's rap. There's always been some type. You got the Queen Latifah.
But you just made your point. I'm gonna explain why. You actually just answered your own question because here I go sounding like the old guy again. But back in the 90s, that's what was so beautiful about hip hop. You could turn on Rap City and you can see Queen Latifah on the same lineup as Little Kim, as Foxy Brown. You can see Bahamadia. I know you don't know about that. You can see Bahamadia on the same lineup as whoever else. It was that variety, and radio and media was pushing everything. So everybody had what they ultimately wanted. Mass media is not the same as it is now.
See this?
I come on, man.
This is what age is showing. Nobody's watching Rap City and BET anymore.
But you're missing the point, though. But you're missing the point.
What he's saying is the people who are pushing the music, they're only pushing one style.
That's what I'm saying. We're not talking about Rap City in particular. I'm talking about what is being pushed.
I mean, because I'm looking at the double XL cover. There's 3 or 4 women on there, and only one is classified as a stripper rapper. I mean, is that legit to say?
Well, who are the 3 rappers you're talking about?
There's Tierra Whack.
Okay. I forgot. Dope, by the way.
I forgot the other ladies. Okay, I forgot the other girls.
Yeah, and I wasn't trying to put you on the spot.
But she's the only stripper rapper. I mean, they're pushing other type of lady rappers.
I mean, I guess my ultimate question would be, or statement would be, so like you said, I mean, there was Trina. Yeah. Back in the day, I mean, but Luke was making stripper music, right? So is it? I mean, is this about gender? Is it about interest? Is it about taste? I mean, because like you said, you had Little Kim, you had Fox Brown, you had all the women, and then you had Lauryn Hill,
right?
Who was spitting. It was probably one of the best rappers, period, of all time as a lyricist.
And her album did better than
everybody's, right? She's a phenomenon. So people ultimately their ears are going to take them, where they want to go. And if they're popular for a reason.
And I think that should be another criticism to Jermaine Dupri, because of what he did with So Def back in the 90s. For him to be out here criticizing all these women in general, why are you not pushing some of these other female rappers who aren't doing the stripper rap?
You know what? I can make the corollary to politics. Right. So if you take like an older politician, like a Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders or something like that, and they're like, they still espousing these old things, and the new people are like, yo, man, you got the hell out the paint.
Right.
This is a new era. This is a new day. You had your time, but they're like, no. You need to understand the way I feel about the world now should be the way you feel about the world now. And that's basically what Jermaine Dupri is doing. He's saying it as a pejorative, like, stripping does not necessarily have to be a bad thing, right? We've been doing this from Jump Street,
eons,
right? Stripper, I mean, rock music been making stripper music way before hip hop even thought about it, right? So it's really about somebody who's like, all right, I'm in my 40s or 50s now. I'm thinking about something that's different. I have an opinion. My name has credibility, so you'll take me more seriously than another guy who would say it. I mean, and the music is what it is. As a matter of fact, I have more respect for people who have 4 or 5 million records now because you're buying it digitally, which means you can't lose it. Think about when we were going to Sam Goody or whatever, and we had to buy a CD and then we lost it, scratched, and we had to buy it again, which was artificially inflating numbers.
Right.
That doesn't happen anymore. So if you're a female rapper selling 3, 4, 5 million albums, man, that's pretty dope. Like, the public speaks and your album sales speak for you, regardless of what you're saying. If people didn't like it, they wouldn't buy it. Simply.
There it is.
Gotcha. All right. We're gonna go to our shout outs. I'm going to go first. I'm going to shout out the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They threw a 13-0 no-hitter against, I think, the Mariners in honor of Tyler Skaggs. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And then also I want to shout out to the U.S. women's soccer team. Y'all did awesome. Keep being outspoken, speaking your mind. Girl power.
We probably need to do a segment on
We do.
Yeah, because I'm comment on that.
Hot girl summer.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Jamal.
I want to shout out a business by the name of Dupp and Swat. It is owned by Dion and Davita Galloway, who are 2 close friends of mine. But I just want to shout them out because I absolutely love what they're doing in the community. And I love that they are specifically kind of helping out in any way they can Black women business owners. And, they had a forum a couple of weeks ago that I couldn't attend, but it was a beautiful thing just to see this constructive meeting of the minds, as far as like ideas and how to be productive as far as promoting small business, Black women and small business owners, man. So just want to shout out Dupri Swat for that.
All right, so I got 2 shout outs. The first shout out, I want to shout out to all of the armored truck drivers in America. Listen, if you guys ever find yourselves in Charlotte, North Carolina,
you open that latch
and you accidentally forget to lock that door, I'm not mad at you, okay? Just let me know. Let me know, okay? My contact information is all on our social media. Drop a DM, send a smoke signal. Let me know.
I know where you be at.
I can use a come up real quick, all right? Just let me know. But on a more somber note, I want to give a shout out to the family of Darnell Harris. For those of you that don't know, he was a worker at the Steak and Shake that was robbed and shot up earlier last week, and he died actually protecting the other workers, and I think that was pretty commendable of him. I hate that he had to lose his life, and I just want to shout out to him and send condolences to his family.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to have 2 shout outs, one snarky and one probably more clinical. So first I'll do the clinical. Shout out to Sharice Johnson. She's a partner of mine at JD Integrative Health, and she does a lot of counseling with eating disorders. And I think eating disorders is something that we think about, particularly with young white girls. And she does a lot of work with women of color, particularly Black women, looking at eating disorders and disordered eating. She's a phenomenal therapist. She's been a kind of like a big sister and a mentor to me in a lot of ways. And she's doing a lot of great work in Charlotte, trying to get our sisters out there in better health, both in the mental health sense and the physical sense. The snarky one, going to the U.S. women's teams, fighting for equal rights without really understanding exactly what they're fighting for. They should be fighting for fair pay. And if they make more than the men, they should get paid more than the men. I think the men are like, thank you, please, because you're making more, so we can get more of the money. I don't think Beyonce looks at Jay-Z and say we should get paid the same. Like, I'm more valuable than you, so therefore I should get paid more. So though you're fighting
perfectly,
right? So though you're fighting for a noble cause, you need to fight for the right cause. And if you want a great advocate, you have to understand what your premise is, and then I can help fight for you.
No doubt.
That's what's up. Righteous. Hey, appreciate y'all watching. We'll actually be back later this week with another segment. So just stay tuned, and I think you'll like this one. All right. So appreciate it.
All right.